Hey, kia ora, Helen, Brahms here, coming live from Sun City in Arizona. I hope you're having a super fantastic, sparkling, thankful Thursday. Sorry, I am glowing. Just been out in 108 degrees, and Zephy decided to take the long route. Like I said, you've heard me before. I say in the evening, Zephy kind of gets a loose leash and gets to decide where we go. And now my hair feels all sweaty and icky. Ugh, I need a cold shower, but I only have hot water. Even my cold water is hot. But yeah, 108 degrees outside. There's like, I don't know how much humidity is out there, but it's higher than normal. There were rain clouds in the distance. We're thinking, oh, maybe we'll get some rain. Yeah, no, not in the forecast. The radar's not showing it coming anywhere near us, but we can't. But we can hope anyway. So it's Thankful Thursday. What are you most grateful for this week? What is it that has happened to you this week? What wins have you had this week? Or things that have happened to you that you are grateful for? Good news, bad news. Always remember, in all situations, everything should be done with a grateful heart, come from a place of love and gratitude. Um, it was a crazy day today. It was a nutty day. Um, I was feeling a little crazy to start with. I got on the chat and it just went downhill from there. In a good way. In a good way. I am grateful that I had a boss that could help me navigate this new system. Like there was one point something came in, and I knew where to go. In fact, I went to the same place in the old system, and I couldn't find it. Um, and then I realized, oh, that's right, I'm on a new system. Where the heck is it? And so I'm like looking around for this thing and trying to take care of the client at the same time. And so I said to the boss, I said, do you know where this is? And she found it right where it used to be, but it was under a different name. So I'm glad I had a boss that was able to help me locate missing features. But it was a crazy day. It was having to still getting used to the new system, and well, it's the old system. They just revamped it. So getting used to the new layouts, where that trying to find where things are. I had to attach documents today. I couldn't find the attach button to attach an attachment, and it's some control command shift something, and I'm like, I just want to get my mouse and go point click here. Um, yeah, they're all about hotkeys on this thing. Oh, we've got this hotkeys. You can actually take a course. They actually have an area that says practice. Something about practice your hotkeys or something like that. I'm like, what? And I went in there and had a look, and it says, oh, we've created all these hotkeys to make it lightning fast. I'm like, no, I'm not a hotkey person. Control C, Command C and Command V are about the only two I do. Copy and paste, and Command Y, repeat. Repeat last command, and Control Z to undo, Command C to undo. Those are my four hotkeys. And then there's Command Print, but I don't use that one very often. So the main four ones that I use is copy, paste, undo, and repeat the last command. Those are about the only four hotkey buttons that I use when I'm doing anything. Everything else is with the mouse, and it's point and click, point and click. But they've taken all of the favorites or the hot buttons, and they've turned them into hotkey things on the keyboard, and I'm like, oh. So having to locate them, and then when you've got to try and find, well, where did I get that? How do I attach an article? Where do I find that? And you've got to click a button, and then you have to go scroll through a list to find out that what the function you want to do doesn't have a hotkey anyway, doesn't have keyboard commands. I'm like, oh, it's definitely a trial, and one of my strengths is adaptability. But when you're got people, when the chat's going a little crazy and you're trying to learn a new system at the same time, it just makes it that much worse. But it's okay. We will adapt. We will adjust. Everything will be fine. I get to go on vacation on Friday. Tomorrow's my last day of work for a week. Actually, not till next Friday, because I back on next Friday. So I get a week to let it just percolate in the back of my brain, to remember things that I have done and to take a complete break from everything else. And even though I'm going to be learning in the classes and learning, it's going to be completely different to the help chat. So when I come back to the help chat, it'll be with a fresh mind, a fresh outlook, and everything will click into place. That's the plan. But I'm just grateful that, I don't know, I just feel like, I don't know, I feel like I'm going to be able to do this. And I'm just grateful that, I don't know, I feel like I'm going to be able to do this. And I'm just grateful that, I don't know, I feel like I'm going to be able to do this. And I'm just grateful that, I don't know, I feel like I'm going to be able to do this. And I'm just grateful that, I'm actually grateful for the whole experience because it's teaching me again my strength is adaptability. I need to adapt. And I need to remind myself of that, even if the chat is going crazy with people coming in with their requests and their issues and their problems and things like that. I just have to adapt. And I'm grateful that I remembered that one of my strengths, I can't remember if it's in my top 5 or my top 10, but it is adaptability. So I'm like, okay, we know how to do this. We know how to adapt. We know change is inevitable. It's always happening around us. You can't sit in place and not change. Because even if you sit in place and you do nothing but breathing, your body is going to change anyway. Change is one of the permanent things in life. Deal with it. But yeah, I know there's some people that have a lot of struggle with change. I'm not one of those people. I can adapt. I can adjust. Adaptability is one of my strengths. And I just need to remember that and recall it. And, I'm grateful that when I worked for Marriott all those years ago, that they took us through the Strengths Finders to show us where our strengths were. And if you've ever done the Clifton Strengths Finder, then you'll know what I'm talking about. But it's a really cool assessment. They've got 34 different strengths, and it ranks you in order of what your strengths are. And I always remember my top 3 are belief, positivity, and woo. And woo is win others over. And somewhere in either my top 5 or my top 10 is adaptability. And futuristics in there somewhere as well. I just wish I could put my hands on the book where I have it all listed. And I did have it on a computer at some point, but I've got no idea where I filed it. If I filed it under strengths or not, if I filed it under something else. But I always remember number 32. Number 32 is focus. I do have a challenge with focusing, and I try to pull on some of my other strengths to assist with that. But I always remember there's a funny story that goes with this. And I had a supervisor, and we found out that focus was my number 32, because I will sit there, and as you have seen on these lives, I will go off in all sorts of different directions, different stories. I will squirrel like nobody's business. I'm shiny object syndrome. Like I said, focus is number 32 out of 34. And I'm not a huge Disney fan, but in my closet with the stuff that's in storage and the clothes that I have in storage, I actually have a American football jersey, and it's got a picture of Goofy on the front. And Goofy would have to be one of my favorite Disney characters. I don't know. There's just something about Goofy that I love. I guess because he reminds me of me so much at times. But the number on the back of his shirt is number 32. And I just thought that was hilarious because he can't focus on anything. He's like me, shiny object syndrome, always trying new things, seeing if they work. Some do, some don't. Next. It's like they say in business, some will, some won't. Next. Well, I'm like that with ideas, shiny object syndrome. Some work, some don't. Next. So yeah, because it's always number 32. And so that reminds me very much of Goofy. And so to have this football jersey that has Goofy on the front with number 32 on the back, I thought that was so appropriate. I just cracked up laughing when I realized that Goofy had number 32 on the back of that jersey that I have. So, but yeah, it was, it's crazy some of the stuff you go through. But the cool part is that, even though I had a crazy day and I got through it very well, I just had to remember that I can adapt to change, and that everything's okay, and we've got everything under control. Even if it feels like it's going out of control, everything is under control. It's not as bad as I think it is. And then I can do this. I can do this. And then this evening then after that, I got a little bit of a break. And then after that, I had my mastermind call, and that was an awesome call. Funnily enough, we ended up talking about strengths in there as well, and playing to your strengths. And I was like, oh yeah, I can do that too. So it was a good reminder that that we're all different, and some people have to focus on one thing and one thing only. And if you try and pull them away, it flusters them. I get that. I understand there are people like that. Then you go to the other end of the spectrum where there's people like me, and we're all over the place, and we seem scatterbrained and not sure what's going on. But believe it or not, we can actually focus on several things and work out several things. Like I said, some work, some don't. Next. And so it's kind of interesting in that regard. And we got given a challenge, and it's like, this is going to be interesting. And it's going to be a very interesting challenge for me not to pull out my roll of paper. I have a roll about yay big, and it's just a big long thing, rolled up thing of craft paper. And I have a container full of different colored markers. But we've been given a very specific task. So to see if I can do this task without pulling out my markers and my roll of art paper and going crazy with it that way is going to be a challenge, which I am looking forward to. It says to do a little bit on it each day. So I'm like, I can do a little bit each day. I can spend 5 minutes a day doing this. I can do 5-minute chunks. Sometimes I can get to do 10-minute chunks. Sometimes I can do 20-minute chunks. It just depends on what the topic is, what the subject is, and does it fall in my realm of interest. Oh, somebody's into PLA white mood. She's just come back from a nice long walk. And so it's very interesting. So this challenge is going to be very interesting to do and see where I end up. But I'm up for the challenge. I love challenges. So if it's a challenge against myself, then I'm all for that. I'm not really into this sort of like, I'm not one of those people who have to be at the top of the leaderboard. If I get on the leaderboard, I get on the leaderboard. If I don't, it's no big deal. If I did better than I did the month before, awesome. Did I do better than anybody else on the team? No. There's people that did way better than me because they like that competition. I'm not one of those. I'm just happy to sit back and let things flow. And if I make it into the running for a competition, I make it in the running. If I don't, I don't. It's no big deal. So that's just how I roll. I've got a lot of other stuff going on. And to be in competition with somebody else, that requires number 32 focus. And I don't have that. So anyway, I'm going to go take my belief, positivity, and woo and go do a couple of things. I have a couple of cards to send out, so I'm going to go do that. And and I have to have dinner. What is for dinner tonight? I got a dark chocolate for dessert, I can tell you that. We can do that. Protein shake, we can do that. Anyway, so have a super fantastic sparkling evening. Enjoy your Thankful Thursday. Be grateful for who you are and what your capabilities are, what your strengths are. Don't worry about the weaknesses because you have the strengths to compensate. There are ways that you can learn to use your weaknesses to overcome your weaknesses. In fact, that was really interesting the way they did that, because our boss for the training department when I was with Marriott took everybody's strengths and had somebody put them into a spreadsheet. And then each person got sent a spreadsheet. And then column one, locked in column one, was that person's strength. So when you were talking to somebody, you could slide their strengths over next to your strengths. And so now you could talk to their strengths. And I remember one of my supervisors and I were clashing heads a little bit. And so we got into one of the training rooms one time. We pulled up a couple of whiteboard flip charts, and we stood there and we wrote out our strengths, each of us. And then we stood there and says, okay, well, when I ask you, and then it was like, well, when I ask you to do this, I'm expecting this, this, and this because I'm relying on these strengths. I said, okay, well, when you ask me to do whatever that is, I rely on this, this, and this. And that's probably why things don't get done because there's none of this piece here taking place. So it gave us a better, it was, we were taking scenarios and talking about which strengths we would call on when given a task or when assigning a task. And that gave us a lot better understanding. And I have to tell you, it worked out so beautifully because after that, she was like giving me the tasks in a way that spoke to my strengths that I understood and like, yep, we'll get that done. It's taken care of. And she knew at that point, once we had that communication thing worked out, it was a lot easier than it had been. Was it perfect? No, but it was a lot easier than it had been. We made drastic improvements on the communications because we understood how somebody with these particular strengths would communicate with somebody with these strengths. And we were able to adapt and change and talk to each other in their strength language. So that made a huge difference. And that was one of the reasons that they used the strengths finders, was so that people back in the hotels and stuff could call on their strengths to do certain tasks, to help assign tasks, recognize strengths in other people, and do that sort of thing as well. So I got to do a lot of different tests. We did Myers-Briggs, we did DISC, we did strengths. What else did we do? Oh, there's a few others in there too. It seemed whatever one we were going to do, we all had to take it. But I have to say, the strengths ones I liked because I could relate to those ones. But anyway, I'm out of here. Go have a super fantastic, sparkling evening. Be grateful for who you are. Be grateful for the strengths that you have. Just be grateful for you, for being you. Just as my friend Deborah says, just do you. And be grateful for it. And if other people don't understand it, that's on them, not on you. It's not up to you to make them understand. It is just up to you to do you. And if they can't accept it, don't let what they think about you destroy who you are. You do you. Let them do them. And there may be a happy medium in between there somewhere. But I like the thing of just do you. And there's a song with that too. So if you go to YouTube and look up Just Do You, and I'm trying to remember the name of the singer. I think it's India something. What was the last name? Can't think, but it's a really cool video. It's got really cool words to the song. And I love listening to it. It's my friend Deborah's theme song, and every now and again I pull it out and listen to it because I kind of like the lyrics that are on that one. But anyway, go out, have a super fantastic, sparkling evening. Tomorrow is Fun Friday. Yay! My last day for a week at work. So I know it's going to be a super fantastic, sparkling, fun Friday tomorrow. Fun in whatever way you want it to, and whatever way you interpret it. But I know it is going to be fun because we get to do more of learning about telling our story and writing our story. So that's going to be just awesome fun. And then after that, we get to celebrate 600 wake-up calls. And we only do the wake-up calls Monday through Friday. And we're up to number 600 tomorrow. So they're going to be doing a special celebration for that after our regular morning call, which is going to be awesome. What are they going to do? Who knows? I don't know. I just know it's going to be awesome because they do such awesome things. So I'm looking forward to listening to that while I'm on the chat working, because that's going to be the time that it's on. I'm going to be on the chat working at that time. But that's okay. If I have to miss it, I have to miss it, and I'll catch the recording later on. And that's the beautiful thing about things, about having recordings. You can go back and watch things if you miss things. But anyway, go have a super fantastic, sparkling evening. And remember to be grateful for who you are and where you are in life, and grateful for the things that are coming. Until tomorrow, hei konara.